Africa, of course, is the big one. They discussed South Africa for some time, and Bernstein made some interesting suggestions. Then he said, "Next is Zimbabwe. It's just attained independence with a black government. Nobody knows which way it's going to go right now, and I wouldn't recommend it for you. Tanzania is out. The country is virtually bankrupt, and there's no free enterprise. The same goes for Uganda. Now, Kenya is different." "How?" asked Ellis. Bernstein turned several pages. "It has a mixed economy, very much like Britain. The government is moderate, and there is less corruption than is usual in Africa. The Western banks think highly of Kenya, and there's a lot of money going into the country to build up the infrastructure. Modernization of the road system, for instance." He looked up. "Of course, you'd have competition. Securicor is already established there." Securicor was Stafford's biggest competitor in Britain. He smiled and said, "I can get along with that." Then he frowned. "But is Kenya really stable? What about that Mau Mau business some years ago?" "Well, that was quite a while ago," said Bernstein, "when the British were still there. Anyway, there are a lot of misconceptions about the Mau Mau insurrection. It was blown up in the Western press as a rebellion against the British, and even the black Kenyans have done some rewriting of history because they like to think of that period as when they got rid of the British oppressor. The fact remains that in the 7 years of the Mau Mau rebellion, only 38 whites were killed. If it was a rebellion against the British, it was goddamn inefficient." "You surprise me," said Ellis. "Then what was it all about?" Bernstein tented his fingers. Everyone knew the British would be giving up jurisdiction over Kenya. The tide of history was running against the British Empire. The Mau Mau insurrection was a private fight among black Kenyans, mainly along tribal lines, to figure out who'd be on top when the British abdicated. A lot of people died, and the few whites were killed mainly because they happened to be caught in the middle, in the wrong place at the wrong time. When it was all over, the British knew who was going to hold the reins of government. Jomo Kenyatta was intelligent, educated, and had all the qualifications to be the leader of a country, including the prime qualification. "What was that?" asked Ellis. Bernstein smiled. "He'd served time in a British jail," he said dryly. "Kenyatta proved to be surprisingly moderate. He didn't go hog wild like some of the other African leaders. He encouraged the whites to stay because he knew he needed their skills, and he built up the trade of the country. A while ago, there was considerable speculation as to what would happen when he died. People expected another civil war on the lines of the Mau Mau, but, surprisingly, the transition was orderly in the democratic manner, and Moi became president. Tribalism is officially discouraged, and yes, I'd say Kenya is a stable country." He flicked the pages he held. "It's all here in detail." "All right," said Stafford. "What's next?" "Now we turn to Nigeria." The discussion continued for another hour, and then Stafford checked the time. "We'll have to call a halt now. I have a luncheon appointment." He looked with some distaste at the foot-thick stack of papers on the desk. "It'll take some time to get through that lot. Thanks for your help, Mr. Bernstein. You've been very efficient. Anything you can't figure out, come right back at me," said Bernstein. "I think we'll give Africa a miss," said Stafford thoughtfully. "My inclination is to set up in the States, and then perhaps in Australia. But I'm lunching with a South African. Perhaps he'll change my mind." Stafford's appointment was with Alex and Dirk Hendriks. He had met Alex a few years earlier, when she had been Alex Arvik, the daughter of an English mother and a Norwegian father, who had been killed during the war. It was in the course of a professional investigation, and, one thing leading to another, he had gone to North Africa to return to Britain